Okay, so this next game we're going to look at is a game played between David Howell playing white against Magnus Carlsen. And this was played at London Chess Classic. And actually, I think these two are quite good friends because they were both born in the same year. So they both sort of played the same sort of junior tournaments. Yeah. Obviously, you know, David's a very strong player. I played him several times. Not got a very good score against him at all. And Magnus, of course, well, if you haven't heard of Magnus Carlsen, then you're probably watching the wrong video.
Yeah. Well, you thought this was some other weird video, the lazy idol? I mean, like, what are you doing here? Go away. Bye. Okay. And, I mean, just show you... Sorry, I went a bit further there, but H3 again.
Do you want to go from the start?
Well, we can go from A6, can't we? Go from the start.
We'll go from the start, and then, of course, we've got this knight off again.
Yeah.
White goes for this very fashionable plan of H3.
Yeah.
Fashion tends to come and go.
Yeah.
Because it used to be that Bishop E2...
But class is permanent.
Exactly. It used to be that Bishop E2 was very, very fashionable.
Which we'll look at later on.
Back in the Karpov era. Yeah. Bishop G5 has had its exponents. Yeah. Bishop E3
Bishop C4.
Yeah, they've all been very popular. But
we will cover these at the end of the DVD. I mean,
absolutely.
You can skip to the sort of brief theory section later on, but we want to do the main ideas first. So, anyway, I mean, let's just show the idea. What was the idea you wanted to show in this one, Danny?
Well, really, I wanted to show a way that Black took the sting out of White's potential attack.
Okay.
Because, again, White plays this very natural move, Bishop G2, which is one of the ideas behind this opening. Now, in a lot of these variations, actually, White can actually play with G5 and Bishop E3. For example, here he can go G5. Sorry, after Bishop E7, he can go G5 and Bishop E3. And this is also quite a dangerous line because if you take on G5, there's a tactical trick.
Right. Knight takes E6, yeah?
Knight takes E6. Yeah. And when you take back with a pawn, we have Queen H5 check.
Yeah.
So that's a dangerous line, but
I'm guessing we can transpose into the last game. We don't have to take on G5. I mean, in that variation you just showed, can we not just go B5 here? Wouldn't that
we can do, although is the bishop already on E7? Maybe it's slightly different. But yeah, B5 here, I think is a very natural.
Something like that. Get on with the normal.
I think this is a very natural plan. Then you go Bishop B7. Later on, maybe you go Knight B6 and Knight BD7, or you maybe go Knight C6 again. So Bishop G2 is a very natural move by White.
More positional, I guess.
And again, Magnus plays a prophylactic move, Knight FD7. And now he plays Knight C6. Again, I think part of Black's plan is really to exchange off. You know, we were saying earlier in the in this Fischer game that you don't want to take on D4, but it all depends on the position. Yeah. Here, White is playing very aggressively with his pawns, so actually exchanging material. Yeah, one of the things they say is when you've got left space, which Black has in this particular position, you want to exchange pieces.
Yeah.
You know, to kind of relieve some of the pressure.
So Knight C6 is also very playable. I mean, David castles kingside here. We haven't really seen this. Obviously, White can castle kingside at various moments, but it shouldn't stop us. I like the next move. I mean, this is one of the main ideas you can see. Go for the C4 square.
Absolutely.
And you know, this knight.
Black played Knight E5.
And that's threatening to come into C4. So B3 is pretty much forced, and B3. I mean, you could play Queen E2, but again, Black would probably aim at that square with a move like you know, and again, he's still threatening to come in here after the exchange on D4. Yeah.
So at some point, probably White has to play B3.
Yeah.
Black took. And now he played a very neat move, I think. He played the move Knight to G6, which I think is a very neat, typical Magnus super accurate move.
Right.
Because again, it comes back to what I was saying earlier. If you look at this position, you think, well, what is White threatening to play? He wants
F4, I guess.
He wants to go F4 and he wants to go F5.
Yeah.
Now, if I was to go Knight C6, for example, you just drop the bishop back. And then, am I actually stopping your plan of F4, F5?
So show the arrows with that pawn coming down.
Yeah, so F4, F5. Now, I could play E5, but then there's another problem created. What's the problem?
The D5 square.
I don't want to go E5 unless there's a serious reason for it, because now knight d5 is starting to look quite ugly for me. So, for example, if you were to go bishop e6, well, then I've got a very pleasant two bishops position. Maybe I can go rook d1, and now I'm threatening to.
Yeah, you don't want to do this.
This is horrible. Yeah. This is horrible. And another thing. So let's go back to this position. If I was to go b5, and now this. Now f5 is starting to look quite dangerous.
Even e5 is something to watch
out for. Absolutely, absolutely. So Magnus plays a typical move, which is very typical of his style, which is a very prophylactic move.
So what if f4 now? What's the point?
Well, this is the point. Now, the move e5 makes a lot more sense.
Okay, so this is like the last game when White plays f4, e5, and let's put that on the board. Is a move that you can often do to take the sting out the f pawn.
Absolutely, and gain access to the e5 square.
Yeah, so the bishop probably moves as White, and then we take on f4. Yeah, so let's just show that. The bishop moves, we take on f4, and we now have. How's that trade help Black, Danny? Well,
I think because it's basically taken the sting out of White's attack. I mean, now you don't have to worry about this f4, f5. So Black's position is now quite safe.
Yeah.
And for example, if I was to go bishop e6 here, I mean, I could certainly take. Well, actually, one very natural way would just be to take,
and then put a bishop on e5, maybe.
That's absolutely a beautiful way to play.
Yeah.
Bishop.
Lovely bishop.
I mean, here, well, knight d5 drops the exchange, but even if it didn't, is the bishop on e5 any weaker than the knight on d5?
Yeah. No. Well, the thing is, the bishop on e5 is probably stronger because you could, I mean, very quickly. In this position here, because this bishop can't be exchanged by a white piece.
Absolutely.
But the knight on d5, remember in the first game we said White wants to exchange off light square bishops, but here we can get rid of that knight quite safely. So okay, so that's why in the game after knight g6, bishop e3 is played first, maybe with the idea of going here at some point, and after queen to this square, again f4.
Oh, by the way, just wanted to make one more point.
Yeah.
If you went f4, e5, and you took, and then we got a position like this.
Yeah.
This is completely different now than the other position where we've got e5, we've got the d5 weakness.
Yeah.
Because now this bishop on e7 can move.
Yeah.
So it's not really blocked. Whereas before, when we had structure with a pawn on d6.
Yeah.
And White still had a pawn on f4.
Yeah.
Then the knight on d5 is, a much more powerful device. But here the bishop can simply move. So for example, something like this, and you could just move the bishop.
Yeah. Okay.
So going back to your point, queen c7. So why can't he play f4 here? I think you'd have been very worried about the move bishop
f6. Yeah. Because b3 is actually now proven to be a weakness, and that's very hard. Black's going to win material.
And in fact, I've got a tactical idea here. I'm going to chomp off a pawn. I'm going to take on. Oh, can I do it? Yeah, I think I can get away with this, can't I?
Yeah.
Because when you take, then I go e5, and after knight d5, I can just simply drop the queen back.
Yeah.
And then I'm hitting.
Yeah, winning material.
Yeah. So White played queen knight e2. See, when I play David, I never seem to take the sting out of
his play.
The Magnus just seems to do it with ease, which is very impressive.
And now b5 comes. So this it's already bishop b7, normal position. David tries something, rook c1, but nothing to worry about. Magnus has developed his pieces nicely. Okay, I mean, I don't know if necessarily Black is better here.
No.
But
no, I think it's equal.
He's got an equal position, and he's got.
But Magnus always wins equal positions.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Unless you've got a stone cold draw.
And in the long run, one of the things I learnt about Sicilian, if you just look at the pawn structure, I was told if you get to an ending in the Sicilian,
absolutely, Simon,
Black is obviously often better because he has more central pawns, and that's the case here.
Absolutely.
In the long run, Black does have these central pawns. These two guys here. And it's good having central pawns. And okay, I mean, I don't think we should look at the rest of this. I think it's pointless.
No.
But I mean, Magnus is showing a nice, simple plan there.
Absolutely. So one of the ways you can take the sting out of your opponent's attack, as we saw in the previous game as well with Yu Yangi, is to play the move e5.
E5, very important idea. Okay, well, thanks for that, Dan.
Yep, no problem.